Morning friends, so welcome back to another new informative video. And as you have read the title is that the tariff war, India, US, China and the global balance, trade conflicts, shifting alliances and the future of the global power. So that's today's topic. So let's move ahead. Moving ahead with what is tariff. So countries impose higher taxes on imports from each other. So when countries import goods and other material from each other, they when they impose taxes, refer tariff as to taxes, right? What is the aim? The aim is to protect the domestic industries, reduce imports, and gain leverage, right? The results. So, what are the outcomes? The higher price strained relation disrupt supply chain. So, prices go higher, and the relations get strained, and they disrupt the supply chain, right? Why is US imposing tariff on India? So that's a very demanding question right now. Trade deficit. US imports more from India than exports. That's true. India exports more to US rather than importing. And the second is that protecting American industry, tariffs on steel, aluminium, and textiles, right? WTO disputes accusations against India's high tariff on electronics, dairy, wine. So the most interesting thing is here the dairy, the whole trade deal, where the whole trade deal between the India and US got paused. That because of the dairy and agriculture industry, where US wants to enter the Indian markets by selling their American products here. But the main catch is here that the U.S. milk, the U.S. cow milk, which U.S. is trying to sell in India, that is non-veg, right? That is non-veg. Why I'm telling you? Because in U.S. milk can be considered non-veg by some cultural and religious standards, because dairy cows in the US are sometimes fed feed containing animal byproducts like meat and bone meal, which clashes with the dietary norms in India. Right? In India, milk is considered as sacred, and the feed which is given to the cow, it's vegetarian, right? It's not non-vegetarian, right? So the animal-based feed in the US sometimes includes animal byproducts like meat, blood, and bone meal to boost their protein in the milk yield. Cultural distinction in India. For many in India, particularly with religious communities, cows are sacred and must be fed a strictly vegetarian diet for their milk to be considered pure and fit for consumption. Right? We for us cows are sacred, and we uh, do puja. Right? We pray to cow as we refer them as the mother. We refer cow as mother, right? Trade dispute. So where the main angle is, where the main trade deal is being paused. Why? Why it's not getting completed? Why it's not getting successful? The main thing is that this practice has led to a trade dispute between the US and India, as India is hesitant to import dairy products from the cows fed non-vegetarian feed, right? So the general understanding here is that globally and in India, milk is often seen as a vegetarian product because it is not the animal flesh, right? And in the cultural perspective, there are are religious beliefs, and there are cultural beliefs in India where the Indian government can't hurt the cultural beliefs and the religious beliefs of the people, right? So that's why India is not importing the not allowing and importing the US agricultural products like dairy products, etc. So that's the main reason. And adding to it that the US milk is non-vegetarian, and they are fed with the bone meal, blood meal, and meat. Sometimes some farmers do that, but yes, cows in United States are fed with the non-vegetarian products. and animal byproducts and the supplementary to boost their protein and fat content, to boost their protein and fat content, so they are fed, right? A political factor, America first legacy influencing current policies. So that's the main reason why US is imposing tariffs on India, because they want to keep US first policy, and they want to protect the American industries, right, in their own sense. Moving to the next, benefits for the US. Now, right now we need to see that what are the benefits for US after imposing tariffs on India. Short-term protection for US farmers and manufacturers. So the farmers and manufacturers in US will get a short-term protection from this tariff, and the leverage to pressure India into opening its market. So Indian market, the agricultural market and the dairy market in India is totally, you can say, the homegrown, right? If the consumption is only in the in India, right? So export is less. The uh, how much we uh, produce, the total maximum amount is consumed in India, right? So there is no point in exporting. Strengthen US negotiating positions in the trade talks, right? Negatives for the US. India relates with the tariffs on US goods like almonds, apple, pulses. US consumers face higher prices, inflation risk, pushes India closer to China and Russia. Here, the negatives for the US is that India and China and Russia are coming closer. Russia is always closer to India, and if you have, in past few days we have seen that the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and he had arrived in India, and he had met with the NSRG Doval and Foreign Minister Jaishankar, and after that the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi. Effects on India-US relation is that trade dispute caused diplomatic friction. US removed India from generalized system of preferences in 2009. So what is generalized system of preferences? GSP. So it's a trade program where developed countries, donor countries, grant reduced or duty-free access to the market from products from developing countries, beneficiary countries, to promote economic growth and industrialization. So here the donor country in this case is India, and the beneficiary country is US, right? And this is a non-reciprocal system established under the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, based on the WTO, World Trade Organization, provides a tariff preference over standard most favored nation rates, making uh, rates making export more competitive. To qualify, product must meet specific rules of origin, and beneficiary countries must provide documentary evidence such as the GSP certificate of origin form A to support their claims. So this is the meaning of generalized system of preferences, GSP. The most interesting question which I got: has this US trade war brought India and China close? Has it brought India and China close? Come, let's see. Galwan clash 2020 strained ties. Yes, tensions were there after the Galwan clash. Tariff push India to explore alternative market. Yes, after the US tariff, India has explored multiple alternative markets where India could sell their products, right? And as Russia has also welcomed the Indian goods in their market. And right now in morning I have studied an article from Business Today, that coming to the news article of the Business Today, that from textiles to tech, Russia plans to hire Indian workers in two more sectors. Most Indians in Russia currently work in the construction and textile sector, but demand is expanding. So here, US, I will clearly say that US has hit his leg. They have hit their leg with an axe themselves. And now India is such a big market. India is such a big population. World's number one population is in India, and Indian market is so huge and slow diversified that India is the choice of many people, especially of China also. Like China dump their products in India. They have a very good, you can say, manufacturing unit. They have a very good manufacturing unit, and China, you can say that they manufacture in bulk, in huge bulk. And India is the huge consumer market. So yes, India is now, and for Russia, India is now a very, you can say that a hen which gives a egg of gold, right? In Hindi it's called सोने की मुर्गी जो अंडा देती है, ठीक है. Moving towards the next. So you have seen that the India and China have come closer, and as this tariff war has brought India and China close together, uh, China values India ties to counter US influence. It's true that China is now trying to recover the economy from this tariffs that US has imposed on them. They have given a deadline, but after that deadline, I think that US will impose. Uh, but trust deficit remain high. Yes, this is the thing that where the whole India China relations get imbalanced. That we can trust China, but uh, if we trust China, the another thing, after seeing the history, after reading the history, or after seeing the past history in the past years, how China has maintained their relationship with India, that makes us a very that puts us in a doubt that if we should trust China again. That is the catch where the India China relations get where they were, and they, you can understand what I want to say, right? So China is a very big economy. I accept that their per capita income is also more than India, but after the Galwan and the Operation Sindoor, where China supported Pakistan on the matter of terrorism, and when India went to the SCO summit, when our defense minister Shri Rajnath Singh went to the SCO summit, where he needed to sign a document of the SCO summit, there was no uh, line written about the Operation Sindoor, the terror attack which Pakistan did, and they refused to support India on the terrorism matter. So India didn't sign that document, right? Can India trust China? Border disputes, LAC, line of actual control, and Galwan, and China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the CPEC, which is passing from the POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. So the illegal land which Pakistan has illegally occupied, right? Huge trade deficit, $100 billion. Cooperation limited to BRICS and SCO forums. So India and China, they have cooperations like SCO and BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, BRICS, and this SEO. And it's interesting, in the last BRICS meeting, not in the Brazil, in the Russia, many new members joined the BRICS forum, like UAE, and then Ethiopia, and then after that Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, right, Iran. So they have joined this alliance, right? And BRICS is a combination of very huge economy, and it contributes a very huge amount in the world economy. So yeah, so these are the two corporations where India and China come together, right? Is it possible that India, China, and Russia can form an alliance? Come, let's see. Strength: population 2.9 billion, resources, military power. India is the biggest population in the world, the largest population. China is second, and Russia I don't want to talk because their land mass is very big, but their population is around I think 13 crore or 14 crore, something like that. These three countries form an alliance: India, Russia, China. So RIC you can name it. So what each country can contribute? India can give its services, China can give its manufacturing, and Russia can give its energy and oil. Right? And this alliance can also challenge the Western influence in Asia and Africa, and I accept it. Can they beat NATO, European Union, and Western alliance? Come, let's see. So, can they beat NATO, EU, and Western alliance? So, NATO is the stronger military bloc led by US and funded by US. EU is a strong trade bloc, so it's a combination of all the European countries, where all the European countries trade together, right? All the European countries come together and they trade from the European Union to other countries in the different parts of the world. And India doesn't trust China fully, so that's the main thing. There's a major thing. Russia is heavily dependent on China. So here I want to say yes, Russia is heavily dependent on China, as sanctions were imposed on Russia after Russia captured the Crimea. Right? I forgot the year. I think 2016. Right, where Russia captured the Crimea, and it was a part of Ukraine. After that, Russia sanctions were imposed on Russia, and after that the economy it was going down. And after that the COVID came, COVID-19, and after that Russia jumped into the war with Ukraine. So here the economy starts to deteriorate more, and after that Russia needed an economic partner and alliance. So India is an emerging economy, but India's economy is not so. At that time, India's economy was not so big. Right now, India is the fourth largest economy with I think $4 trillion, something like that, $4.1 trillion or $2 trillion, like this. And China is a massive 18 trillion, $19 trillion, right, with per capita income of $10,000 or $11,000, like this only. And outcome is counterbalance, but not defeat the West, right? Yes, this alliance can defeat counterbalance, but it cannot defeat the West, right? West is massive, their economic is massive, their military alliance is massive, right? Especially the NATO. Why is China suddenly valuing India? Why is China so much? क्यों चाइना भारत को इतना तवज्जो दे रहा है, इतना क्या बोलते हैं इसको, इतना इम्पोर्टेंस दे रहा है? तो China facing Western isolation post COVID and Ukraine war. So China has also right now, when earlier US imposed tariff on China, you have seen that the US companies, very big companies like Nike, Puma, and etc., they manufacture their goods and products in China at very cheap price, and they sell it in a very higher price in the worldwide, right? Needs of new market. India is the fastest growing major economy. Yes, India is the fastest growing major economy, and India is a huge importer of Chinese goods and products. Wants to prevent India from going fully pro US. Yes, China wants India to not go into the Western alliance, the US led alliance, where be it in the Quad or Indo Pacific, but India is a part of Quad. So right, and India is also part of the SCO and the BRICS. So the alliance which is not inspired by the Western ideology or the Western bloc, right? India is in the middle of the plate. Yes, and friendly tone, but no real border concessions. China has a friendly tone right now, but on the border situation, no normal, right? So yes, China has to look out and to reach new markets, and India is a very, you can say, emerging market. It's an emerging market with very huge population and a very large amount of consumer is here. India market is a consuming market. India is also exporting, but our exports are not too much. but in past 10 years, I would say, or past 15 years, India export have reached new records, right? Future outlook, so let's see. Future outlook, so let's see where the in future where all this stand. India US cooperation in tech and defense continues. Yes, it continues, but right now it's the relation between the both the countries are trembling up and down. It's not stable. India China cold peace, border tension remains. Yes, border tension remains. China's foreign minister Wang Yi arrived in India. He met with NSRG Deval, Dr. Jaishankar, and the Prime Minister of India. And also in that meeting, the outcome was nothing on the border or the raw material which China has stopped for India. The only thing on which the both the countries agreed, where the both the countries interest match was on, both the country interest match was on tariffs, which US imposed on India, right? And on 27 August, US is going to impose 50% more tariff on India. India Russia strong defense and energy ties. Yes, both the countries has very strong defense and energy ties and a friendly and brotherly relation between the both the countries. India is equal to a key swing power in the global geopolitics. Yes, India is the key swing power in the global politics. As today you can see that the world politics, the geopolitics is going around India. So yes, India. You can say that India, without India, right now in this situation, world cannot expect any geopolitical changes. That it's my own uh, point of view. Because India is a part of the Western Bloc also, and the India is also part of the the left wing bloc also, right? The left wing bloc, you can see the communist and the dictator bloc like North Korea and Russia, communist, Russia and the China bloc, and the BRICS and the SCO. And India is also part of the Quad, Indo-Pacific, G7. It's not the permanent member. So yes, it's a non-permanent member but invited. And in the G20 also, it's a permanent member. In G20, I think it's a permanent member. And yes, it's a permanent member in G20. And so India is in the middle of the plate. So India is neither here neither here. So I think it's a very good strategy. But yes, at the one point of time, we also have to decide where we want to go. एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा जहाँ पे हमें भी ये निर्णय लेना पड़ेगा कि हम किस तरफ जाएंगे, क्योंकि निर्णय तो लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि आप कब तक प्लेट के बीच में रहोगे, कब तक आप प्लेट के बीच में रहोगे? आप बीच का हुक्म का इक्का तो बन के नहीं रह सकते ना, बीच में हुक्म का क्या नहीं, मतलब आप बीच का बंदा तो बन के नहीं रह सकते ना, आपको एक ना एक तरफ तो झुकना ही पड़ेगा, आइदर इस साइड आइदर इस साइड, राइट? The conclusion is tariff war is more than the economic, it's geopolitics, right? It's totally geopolitics. US is trying to show its powers to the world, the superpower, that I am everything and I am the grandfather of the world, right? I am the grandfather of the family, right? I am, so what I will do, that's correct. That's US Donald Trump is trying to represent. No one can defeat US or neither the US dollar, but he is thinking that doing this will save US dollar. It's no. I think that he should stop this tariff war. Instead of that, US should not do this tariff war. Otherwise, people will be forced to move on to or to switch to another currency. Right? BRICS is planning its own currency to counter this US dollar and many more, etc. Coming to the next, India balancing between US, China, and Russia. Yes, India is balancing between India, US, China, and Russia, and not only in US, China, and Russia, but also in Ukraine, where you see the Russia-Ukraine. Ukrainian president is also willing to coming to India. That's the report. And another thing that the India and the Israel bloc, where India is maintaining the relation between Israel and also between the Palestine, right? And the China also, where the US China bloc, where India has also trade with China, and also the trade and defense cooperation and economic ties with the US, and also India is a part of BRICS and SCO, and also the India is also part of the G20 and non-permanent member of the G7, non-permanent member of the G7, and also it's the part of G4, where I think India, Brazil, Japan, and Germany are the four G4 cooperation. So they are willing to get the next permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council. And trade deficit between China remains the biggest challenge. Yes, trade deficit between India and China remains the biggest challenge. Trust trust deficit. Yes, trust deficit with China remains the biggest challenge. India should trust or should not trust on China. Um, Watching on its the past history, that what kind of behavior China has with India, or what kind of thinking their political party, or the only political party, Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, has towards the India. As India is a secular country and a democratic country, where the China is a communist country, right? World moving World is moving towards the multipolarity with India as key player. Yes, world is moving towards multipolarity with India as a key player. And I think right now, geopolitics without India, no one can imagine, right? So the global changes without India, no one can imagine. So that's the conclusion, and I think that I hope you understand the whole scenario of the tariff war, and the US relation, India China relation, India Russia relation, and the global balance of power in the world. So I think you enjoyed this informative video, and I think you got to learn many things. So keep encouraging us by giving new topics. And so now it's time to take leave, my friends. So जय हिंद, जय भारत। मिलते हैं फिर अगले वीडियो में।